What a weird time, though. I mean, I know those 90 days. I didn't. No, I didn't have. Actually had a 12-month non-compete.
A
But
12-month
yeah,
non-compete.
12 months. But that's neither here nor there. It's past. Who cares? Not a big deal. But in those 90 days for you, like, what does that feel like to not know what am I gonna do? What does the future hold? I mean, just from like my perspective of you, from when I first met you coming in doing the Mae Young Classic, and there's all this buzz. Toni Storm. We all love Toni Storm. This chick is a rock star. She's such a star. To you feeling like, I don't know what's next for me. That's crazy.
That was a good time for me during the Mae Young, and like, you know, I had some good times in WWE, and then it was cool at one point, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then it changed, and I didn't want anything to do with it.
What went into that? What were some, like, when you got into WWE and you were doing the Mae Young, and I feel like there was always a lot of steam behind you and a lot of power behind you, like seeing you as going to be one of the big stars, from going on to NXT UK to being champion for NXT UK. When did things change?
When I went from NXT to SmackDown, I was like, you know, I mean, my main goal in wrestling was to be on, you know, Raw or SmackDown, main roster, WWE TV. And then I got there and figured it out pretty soon. I realized, like, this is just not going to work out. This isn't the place for me at all. And also I'm 26 and I want to have a really good time in this job. I want to have a really good career, and I want to enjoy part of it. And I just wasn't enjoying it for so long. And I abruptly quit. I didn't even intend. I woke up that morning having no idea that I was going to quit by that night. Yeah, I guess something. You know, a flip switched.
Yeah.
A switch flipped.
Yeah. I actually heard it right the first time you said it.
You're like, oh, yeah.
It sounded right to me, but it was not. So you corrected it.
It was, I just snapped out of the blue. And then all of a sudden I was on this 90 days.
Yeah.
And during that time, I wasn't expecting to have all this time off. I thought for sure I was going to just continue working there forever.
Right.
And then all of a sudden this 90 days hits me, and I don't know if AEW would have me. I don't know what I'm going to do, but my first thought was probably, oh, maybe I'll go back to Japan.
Yeah.
Because I liked it out there. And
yeah.
And I, you know, I was going back and forth for a while in my own head of, oh God, do I even want to do this anymore? Because I was so frustrated. As you can imagine, like, it can be frustrating. And really, it got me pretty down. And then in that 90 days, it was just about figuring out, like, what's next.
Yeah.
And I went back to Australia because I hadn't been home in 2.5 years. And
that's nice.
It was good to go back. And I went back for a month and like reset.
I feel like getting back to like your roots during a time like that, because it can be, you can start to feel really lost when you're not sure what you're doing. The creative's not really what you thought it was going to be. This job that you thought was going to be the thing that you love and really wanted to do just wasn't what you thought it was going to be. It can be a real mindfuck.
It's weird. I mean, I say it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Like, people weren't telling me that it was going to be probably terrible. For years I heard that of so many people. So many people were like, it's not, like, a lot of people don't enjoy it at all. And it can be, like, for some people it just works out, and for others it just makes them miserable. And I guess I just fell into that category. I guess it just wasn't for me at that point. And
thank God you realized it. You realized it pretty early on. Like, it's not like you hung out too long to like really let it get super under your skin. It's cool that you jumped to that conclusion early enough.
I mean, let's face it, they just fire people left, right, and center, like, out of the blue. I could be fired next week, and then it's like, what's the point?
Yep.
It just felt very pointless in the end, to be honest. And it's been hard to convey that to, especially to fans, especially to people that just aren't in this business, and they'll never understand. I must sound ridiculous to those people, but the reality of
people
what
to
it's actually
understand
like,
that, because when you don't really know, and I know, like, it's a rough spot to be in, because the last thing anyone wants to do is like sound like they're bitter or they weren't handed the right cards and blah blah blah. It's like, but it's not that. There's more layers to it than that.
I'm like not mad about the booking and I'm like, no, I don't care. I certainly don't want to bury WWE. I don't want to like say bad things about the place. I think I had a great time there for the most part. And there were times I have very great memories being there that I'll cherish forever. And I got to have some great matches. Like it made me who I am essentially.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like I grew up with them. I had a very unique relationship.
How old were you when you signed? Like 21?
I did that first Mae Young Classic. I worked with them then, and then I did the second one immediately following that. NXT UK kind of started. So I was from then on, more 2018. I was contracted, and then eventually I worked my way up to going over to NXT and I did a few American trips when I was still with NXT UK. And I got to do like the Royal Rumble and Survivor Series randomly. And I got
Were those good experiences?
Yeah. I mean, they were crazy. They were, it was like, wow, I'm lucky that I got to experience all of this. I got to work with some amazing coaches, and I'm not mad. I'm not like angry at WWE. I don't have anything against them. And we
just wasn't the fit that
like
you wanted
they probably,
it to be.
I'm sure they got bigger fish to fry than me. You know what I mean? Like, why do they care? People get let go from that place constantly. People move around constantly. It doesn't matter if I'm there, but what matters is, well, I'm not having a very good time, and why shouldn't I be having a good time?
What was that day like that you decided? Because you said you woke up and it's not like you had it in your head, hey, this isn't for me. I'm going to duck out of here today. What happened for you to go, I got to go have this conversation? Did you go to Vince or did you go to Johnny? Who'd you talk to?
Oh, it was a complicated ordeal. Don't you just love those? You just love a good complicated ordeal.
Love it.
I mean, I had built up frustrations with the place for a very long time. Like a lot of people do. Not, just like the next guy. Everyone seems to have some kind of...
It's a very insular world as well, and that's the other thing too that I think for other people to understand. It's like when you're in that bubble, and we're all on the same ship. We all understand what the sacrifices are. We understand what the day-to-day is like, and it's grueling. It's a lot.
Like they don't give a shit, so why should I? Like, this isn't going to work. I know what's going to happen here. I'm just going to be sent back to catering again. It's just not going to, and like, it's just not, I'm not gonna succeed here. I can just see it. I know that
that is crazy. I know
though, they see me as I'm such a kid and I'm such a newbie and this, that, and the other, but I'd like to think that I've been around wrestling long enough to know I just know what's right and what's wrong for me and what I like and what I don't like. And I just didn't like it.
Well, it's also like sort of the edict that I'm hearing as well too of like, well, they really want very young talent.
Yeah.
And to have somebody like you who is young, but also has a ton of experience, it does seem a little crazy to me that for you to feel that way and for them to not want to like really hold on to you.
Yeah, I didn't feel that appreciated a lot. You know what I mean? Like, and I just felt like they didn't at times have very much respect for me, and it just was I feel like over time they just kind of crushed my love for wrestling. It just wasn't even wrestling anymore. You're not even allowed to say wrestling. Like, you're not even allowed to, you get given the group text of like, don't say professional wrestling in promos and this, that, and the other. And like,
oh yeah,
I understand, but like, whatever. I was just sick of it. I was just tired of, what am I doing this for? What am I trying to prove to anyone? Will anyone think any differently of me? Really? Do people really care where I go and do fake wrestling moves? Really? Do people really care that bad that I've got to be miserable day in, day out, just because people go, oh, well, that was ungrateful and she shouldn't have done that and blah, blah. Well, I was unhappy, and why should I be unhappy? It's so that I can like do WrestleMania. Well, okay, well, that's nice and everything, but I'm still going to be miserable the next day.
Yeah. Still Raw's going to roll around or SmackDown's going to roll around.
I thought my whole purpose in life was to go to WWE, but then over time I realized it's just pro wrestling that I love. It's not a company that I love. I just love pro wrestling, what it is. And
was it scary when you felt like you didn't love wrestling anymore?
It was terrifying. It was so sad.
I bet you that, I mean, sad. I can imagine the like tears shed over, it's like losing a love of, I mean, it's losing the love of your life.
Yeah. It was just something that
no offense, Juice. Love you, but
it was, something that I once just enjoyed is now just job. I wasn't like psyched to go to work anymore.
Yeah.
Like I used to be. I was like that in NXT. I was like it. And quickly, I was like, this isn't going to work out because this is
Yeah.
pinnacle right here. And I'm already miserable. And quite frankly, I see other people and they're miserable as well. And I don't want to be like them.
Yeah.
I don't want
You have control over it to a degree. And luckily you were given that control, that you were given that release.
A bit more control over my life because I felt like there was none.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain because it's like you got to be in you got to be there to really know
100%.
Actually entails, but you would know.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, you
I hear ya.
Yeah.
What was the feeling when they were like, okay, we are going to give you your release? Were you what were you going through?
It was okay, to be completely honest. People probably, I don't know, hate me for it, but I just wanted to just get them off me. It was like I wanted to get the stink off me. I just was done with it. I don't mean that in a bad way, you know what I mean? I just, not that I think, nothing bad to them. It was just like, I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want, I don't know. I guess, you know, if anyone asked, Toni Storm quit WWE because she went insane.
Did you feel like you were going insane during that? I was going
insane. I hadn't eaten for days. I hadn't slept for days. I was, and like, it's not like I was drinking or going out partying and like, I was sober like this. I was like, oh my God, this has got to end. I'm just, you know, and then I'm looking at, okay, well, I'd never considered a life outside of WWE. I never even dreamed of what that would be like because my life was just be in WWE.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been like since I was a 10-year-old girl. And it's just been studying WWE. What do I have to do to be good enough for them? What have I got to do to be there? What have I got to do to be the number one person there? And it was just, it was just exhausting.
Yeah.
It's like, and you know what? If my life is dependent on being WWE champion, then I'm a mark, and that's just lame. God, it's like not real.
Well, listen, we don't have to like dwell on this too much, and this doesn't need to be like the bulk of what this interview is.
No.
But what was that final straw for you when you're like, I gotta go, I have to go ask for my release right now?
It was a very complicated day, but I just just all built up, pent up frustration. Like they're I'm not being funny, but it was like they call you out like a paramedic, like you know what I mean? Like you're on call, and like someone, like I'm not an open heart surgeon, you know? This is wrestling.
Yeah,
you don't need to like have full control over every second of my life.
Yeah,
there just wasn't. And people think that I was just burnt out with the hard schedule, and it's like, no, it's not the hard schedule because quite frankly, my indie schedule was ballistic. I never went home.
Yeah.
I never go home. I'm chasing those busy days, you know? I'm chasing like working a lot and working really hard. I love that, but like not like that, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure.
Not when it's, you know.
So in that lull of you not being with WWE, not sure what the future was holding, you're falling out of love with professional wrestling. Was it getting that phone call to go to AEW that was a thing that reignited your passion for what you do?
Yeah, but I felt like weeks prior to that, during that 90 days, I was kind of like I was contacted to do Ring of Honor for WrestleMania weekend, and that was before Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
So but like when I was contacted about that, I kind of got I was like, the thought of me wrestling again, I was like, oh, hey, like that.
Yeah.
I would like to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I got really excited again, and I hadn't felt that in a while. Yeah. Something clicked. I was like, oh man,
I do still love
I do. Of course I do. It's the best job in the world, and it shouldn't be misery.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that was something that I always felt when I was there as well. It's like, this should be the most fun job in the world.
Yeah.
And it becomes so micromanaged and focused on the minutia that you're like, I don't even know. Am I breathing properly? Like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Am I good at this at all? Like, I don't know what is happening. It can really just like, you feel like you're underwater. You're like, somebody throw me a lifeline. Like, I don't know what I'm doing
Everything
anymore.
you just said. just really
rough.
resonated.
It can be rough.
Yeah.
And I mean, for this is going to be a thing. They're bitter, blah, 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 blah.
I'm totally not bitter though. I'm so glad I experienced it.
Yes.
And like good for those that do well in that place.
100%.
Awesome. Like that's that's so good.
And it's such a difference too, because the people that thrive in and there's people that can thrive in WWE and they can also thrive outside of WWE. But there's some people that like that formula works for them.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great. How do you prefer, obviously you prefer to not work like that, but to now be able to be more in the driver's seat of what your matches are like, what your promos are like, to not have to wait for, creative necessarily to come and say, hey, here's what you have, here's your segment, blah, blah, blah.
I guess I'm one of those guys that prefers, like, I don't know, was I on the indies too long or something? And now I just like, I got too used to having I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know if it's that. I just, oh God. See, this is what I meant about like, it's hard to convey.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, hey, screw it. We'll move on to the next thing.